Lake Lanier is located about an hour away from Atlanta and stretches across 5 Georgia counties. It was constructed in the 1950s to serve as flood protection from the Chattahoochee River and to provide power and water to Atlanta and the surrounding areas. Which sounds like a good thing, right? I mean, who doesn't love water and power?
Yeah, for real. We need
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
But the area where the government and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers wanted to build this lake, well, it was already inhabited by hundreds of families, animals, and complete with a thriving ecosystem.
And since the lake's creation, there has been nearly 700 deaths. About,
Jesus.
yeah, about 200 of them just since 1994.
Holy fuck. Not even in the last, what is that, 20 years? Almost.
It's over 20 years. You were born in 92, so just take off 2 years from your age.
So what, 29?
29, yeah.
I was close.
Just in 29 years, so 200 deaths. Making Lake Lanier, as unsuspecting as it might seem, one of the deadliest lakes in the US. But why? Maybe it has something to do with all the cemeteries still located beneath the murky waters, or the dark history of the land Lake Lanier now occupies. Or maybe it's the ghost of the Lady of the Lake. Okay, so let's dive in
Dun
to
dun
Lake
dun.
Lanier.
I'm not. You can.
Yeah, I'm not jumping in that lake. Hmm. Uh, Lake Lanier is named after Georgia poet, musician, and Confederate soldier Sidney Lanier, who wrote the poem Song of the Chattahoochee.
Way down yonder on the Chattahoochee.
I don't think that's it, but
Hotter than a hoochie's coochie. I don't know. But according to CNN, sorry, I just went from hoochie's coochie to. Okay, according to CNN, but honestly, according to CNN, Lake Lanier has about 625 billion gallons of water, which is the equivalent of 950,000 Olympic sized swimming pools.
Damn.
Oh, whoa. Yeah. Michael Phelps swim that bitch. At the Buford Dam, the lake is more than 200 feet deep. Ooh, that's creepy as fuck.
I don't like water if I can't see, like physically see the bottom. So, like, basically, it has to be clear enough. And lakes are just never clear. They're always like murky and
Yeah.
muddy and
And
I
grody.
yeah. Ugh.
I mean, I guess so are oceans, but
Yeah, lakes, oceans, no. I do pools. That's what I do.
those can still be a little gross,
Yes.
depending on where you go.
The Netflix show Ozark, starring Jason Bateman, filmed at Lake Lanier. The season 3 premiere of FX's show Atlanta referenced Lake Lanier and the fact that it's very much haunted.
Yeah, that episode freaked me out. It's creepy because they're out there at. Well, it's creepy that they're out there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's at night. I don't like that.
Yeah, it'd be creepy to go there during the daytime, just knowing the history. Um, but it never actually named the lake, but you know what they were talking about. A horror film titled Lanier is expected out this September, which I'm super excited about. It looks super
Me
creepy.
too. I cannot
Yes.
wait to see it. I hope it's
Yes.
good.
Me too. It looks good. I've seen some teasers. It looks really good.
Yeah, I hope they don't just like mess it up, but
Yeah.
I have faith, I guess. There are tons of parks, campsites, and recreation areas around Lake Lanier, including Margaritaville, which as of this summer, just a couple weeks ago actually, they announced some crazy shit.
Yeah.
They announced that they will be banning swimming at their Lake Lanier location.
Yeah, according to Fox 5 Atlanta, it is due to unspecified safety concerns. They have even put up a fence preventing anyone from entering the lake from their beach.
Yeah, and I actually did a little bit of research on this, and um well, I watched a like news article or two, and they have the fence in the water, and they're like, people can still lay out on the beach, you just
Mm-hmm.
can't get in the water. But they
Yeah.
also have like a big pool and like a water park with a water slide
Yeah.
and all kinds of stuff, so they're like trying to promote that more than having people go in the water. But no news station has been able to get an answer as to why.
Yeah, they just keep saying like unspecified safety concerns.
Yeah, and no one
But
knows what that means.
I did find an article. I think it was by an article by WSB TV in
Ugh,
Atlanta.
that's one of my favorites. I mean, Fox 5's good too, but I grew up watching Glen Burns, so.
Yeah, that according to WSB TV, last year, a 20-year-old man named Jose Caramelo, probably butchering that name because we suck at names.
Yeah,
Um,
we try. We
we
try our
try,
best.
but he drowned about 30 yards offshore while in the swimming area at Margaritaville. So I think it was like over Memorial Day weekend.
And that's this weekend.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why I wanted to do the episode on Lake Lanier now because it's like the start of lake season. Everybody going to the lake. Like, be cautious if you're going to any lake. But if
Yes.
you're going to Lake Lanier, just don't go. You know?
Yeah. And if
Be
you
extra
do,
cautious. Yeah.
go into the pool or the water slide and not the lake. Don't get in the water.
Yeah. Go hang out at Margaritaville's water park because that's what they want
Yeah,
you to do anyway. But
exactly.
but yeah, I think it probably has something to do with like what you said, them promoting that stuff more, but also like where that guy died near their
Yeah, they don't
property.
want that to happen again. And they're probably
Yeah.
getting sick of people dying. Hopefully they are. But they can't stop people because you can still rent paddle boats and like kayaks and go out on the water, which that would still scare the shit out of me. But
Yeah, me too. Accidents can still happen, so
yeah,
and people can still access the lake from other locations. It's just the Margaritaville location.
yeah, they said it's going to be very like secure. It's weird. I don't know why they're doing this, but maybe it
Yeah,
is because that happened last year.
but no one, like you said, no one's been able to really get a straight answer from them. So,
Yeah, it's weird. R&B singer Usher's stepson Kyle Glover was killed on Lake Lanier back in 2012 when Jeffrey Simon Hubbard, who was riding a jet ski, he ended up running over Glover and a teenage girl while they were on inner tubes being pulled by a pontoon boat.
yeah, Hubbard was sentenced to 4 years in prison for the incident. But was it an accident or part of the lake's curse? Because one can expect that each year, with millions of visitors going out to any lake, that there will be some drownings, but on Lake Lanier, there are more than just drownings. There have been a number of freak accidents and strange occurrences, like boats just suddenly catching fire.
I don't know. I think it's cursed. The cost to build the lake was about $45 million. The government acquired over 50,000 acres of mostly farmland from hundreds of families who lived in the area to build the lake. They also had to move several businesses, churches, and relocate about 20 cemeteries. But did they move all the bodies like they were supposed to?
Well, if you've ever watched the show Expedition X, they proved after diving into Lake Lanier, which hell no, I would not do.
Yeah, I
Um,
heard that there's world-class divers that refuse to dive into
yes,
Lake Lanier, which is,
yes.
I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
So the show Expedition X proved after they were diving into Lake Lanier that like they found some graves with like the stones and everything still intact at the bottom of the lake.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's creepy.
the footage that they had of the graves, it looked like bodies had never been moved, because I mean you would probably move the gravestone too, so like they have a marker wherever you take the body, and the fact that all of that's just still down there.
A
Yeah.
little weird, a little eerie.
Yeah. So I also read somewhere, so the government was supposed to, take care of all of this, relocating the bodies and everything. And I read somewhere that if the government couldn't obtain permission from the families that to move the bodies, then the bodies stayed put. But I don't know how true that is, but regardless, the government did make some sort of effort to move the bodies, but it obviously didn't move all of them.
There's no way they moved them all.
No. And it is also believed that there were several unmarked graves of slaves and possibly Native American burial grounds that are now lost underneath the water as well.
Which, you don't fuck with the ancestors of slaves, and you do not fuck with Native American burial grounds. That's calls for a
Yeah.
curse.
So the land underneath the lake has a dark history. Before the lake's creation, there was this dark history, and that's what we're going to get into. The dark history started around the 1830s.
The Cherokee Native Americans had occupied areas of Georgia for hundreds of years. But around 1830, gold was discovered on their lands, and they were forced out by, nonetheless, white settlers.
Of course.
Yep.
According to GeorgiaEncyclopedia.org, in 1832, Georgia leaders divided the former Cherokee lands into 10 counties, including Forsyth. The Cherokees were removed forcibly from their Georgia lands in 1838 and relocated to reservation lands in Oklahoma.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they made them go all the way out to Oklahoma from Georgia.
That's
Ridiculous.
so far. I'd be
Yeah.
pissed.
Hence, probably the curse,
Yeah.
But in 1951, before Lake Lanier was created, a man by the name of Joseph Caldwell discovered and excavated the Samora Mound. The mound was then buried underneath the lake. It resurfaced.
Creepy.
Yeah, right. It resurfaced again in 2007 when the lake reached low water levels. It is considered sacred ground and shows the history of Native Americans in that area, and it adds to the very likely possibility that there are Native Americans buried underneath the lake.
For sure. About 100 years later, in 1912, in what used to be the town of Oscarville, Georgia, located in Forsyth County, and now buried beneath Lake Lanier, was once a flourishing African American community full of farmers, carpenters, and blacksmiths. But in 1912, things drastically changed when an 18-year-old white woman named May Crow was sexually assaulted and found unconscious with her throat slashed in a wooded area nearby. She would eventually die from her injuries. There was also some sort of a pocket mirror that was found near her.
One of these black residents was a 17-year-old boy named Ernest Knox. Knox had gathered with several others to see what the commotion was all about when May's body was discovered. Someone asked Knox if the pocket mirror that was found near May belonged to him. And it's like not known if he knew that the mirror was found near her body when they asked him that. So he admitted to owning it. He's like, yeah, it's his mirror. Well, basically, they just assumed he was guilty from then on because the mirror found near her body he claimed to own. So they assumed how else would it have gotten there unless he was the one that did it. And he was then coerced and harassed until he confessed to the crime of hurting May. And Knox was then taken and held at the Fulton County Jail, which I think is messed up because one, he could have been like, yeah, I'll claim that mirror. Like maybe he didn't know that it was found near her body, and he was like, I'll claim that mirror because maybe he needed one.
Yeah.
And then two,
I need one.
Yeah, me too. Mine's like the glue like came off of it, and now it like keeps falling out every time I open it. I could probably just glue it back together, but um, he also, it could have been his. Maybe he was walking in that part of
The
the
woods.
woods and dropped it like a day or two before. Who knows? And it just happened to be there. Someone could have planted it,
Yeah,
knowing that it was his, and planted it
very
there.
true.
Yeah. So
Also,
it.
though, when you were reading that, it made me think back to the Martinsville 7.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of too. Like when I was reading this whole thing, I thought of the Martinsville 7 like the whole time because it's like it's so messed up. It gets worse.
Ooh.
So people in the community started spreading rumors that Knox had accomplices.
Oh.
So
Oh, I
really
didn't even.
does, yeah, really
Didn't
does
even.
remind you about the Martinsville 7 because
I just heard coerced and bullied about a white lady that.
and was sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
By the next morning, police had arrested 24-year-old Rob Edwards. Edwards was the husband of Knox's cousin, Jane Daniel. Edwards was taken to a jail in Cumming, Georgia. The next part may be hard to hear, so warning.
yeah,
After news spread of Edwards' arrest, an angry mob broke into the jail and drug Edwards outside and lynched him by hanging him from a telephone pole and shot his dead body multiple times in downtown Cumming. That's so fucked.
yeah. Um, Edward's wife, Jane Daniel, her 17-year-old brother, Oscar Daniel, and a man named Ed Collins, who was their neighbor at the time, were also all arrested in connection with this crime committed upon May Crow. And
What
they
the
were,
fuck?
yeah, and they were also taken to jail. A few weeks later, the prisoners were escorted to Cumming, Georgia to stand trial. The thing that's messed up about it, why would Edward's wife like
Be a part of it.
be, yeah, that's what blows my mind. Like why would she sit there why while her husband assaulted and
Yeah,
murdered
why would. Yeah.
this woman? Like
I mean,
what?
I know some women are weird and crazy and creepy like that, but, like,
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't see that. I mean, I mean, it could happen. It could happen, but
Yeah.
I don't think it did. Um it's widely believed that all of these men and Jane were innocent of this crime, by the way. According to the Atlanta History Center, at the trial, prosecutors told this narrative that Knox, Oscar Daniel, and Edwards attacked and assaulted May Crow, while Jane Daniel held a lantern borrowed from Ed Collins.
Yeah, that sounds. That sounds fucking stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I'll
with,
hold this lantern so y'all can, like, rape this woman. Yeah,
yeah.
what?
And also, like, was Ed Collins only implicated because it was his lantern? Like, yeah, I let her borrow it, so now I'm on trial for murder? Like, none of this makes any sense.
No.
Like,
That's
none of it.
bizarre.
Yeah. So, Knox and Oscar Daniel have separate trials. Oscar Daniel maintains his innocence throughout the entire trial, but it did not matter because an all white jury convicted Knox and Oscar of the sexual assault and murder of May Crow.
Jesus
Uh,
Christ.
yeah, and the judge sentenced the two men to execution by hanging. As stated by hairofthedog.net, as part of a plea bargain, Jane Daniel changed her story and agreed to turn state's witness. Her and Collins corroborated the story in this narrative that, yeah, it was his lantern. Jane was holding it.
They did it, so
They
let us
did
out.
it. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So the charges against Jane and Ed Collins were dropped in exchange for their testimony.
Of course.
And so because of this,
Collusion.
yeah, I mean, and it's hard to tell what the cops like told them. They're probably like, well, if you don't do this, then you're gonna hang too.
Yeah.
So there was no other evidence linking Oscar Daniel to the crime except his sister's testimony. So basically, her testimony ensured his death.
Wow. That's sad.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
And her husband had already died. So she lost her brother, her cousin, and her husband to this whole incident.
Oh my god.
Mm.
Knox and Daniel's execution was scheduled for October 25th, 1912. The execution was not supposed to be a public affair. It was ordered to be private, with only family and law enforcement in attendance. A fence was erected to keep the public out, but the night before the executions, the fence was burned down by the angry mob, and an estimated 5 to 8,000 people showed up to watch these two young men hang. That's a lot of fucking people to watch people die.
Yeah. And it's messed up that they wanted to watch it that bad. Yeah, so after the death of Macro, a group of men in Forsyth County called the Night Riders harassed and terrorized the black residents in the county and forced them all to flee their homes and their land. Many of the black residents left with only what they could carry. Some of them were able to sell their land, but at a loss, and some of them had their land straight up stolen from the white residents there when they left it behind. Like they just took it over.
Damn. According to the 1920 census of the county, only 30 African Americans remained in the entire area that was Forsyth County. And Forsyth County to this day is mostly still white.
Oscarville, the flourishing African American community, was right where the lake is now. So, like, over 1,100 African Americans that lived in Forsyth County ended up fleeing.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And many of them had lived there for like generations. We have Native American energy. We have all of this negative racial energy.
Deaths
And
from it.
yeah,
Energy.
yeah, deaths from drownings
Innocent
and freak
people
accidents.
dying.
Mm-hmm. And we're not done.
Oh God. We're not done though. Wait
Nope.
for it.
Yes, now we're going to fast forward about 46 years later to 1958 when Delia Mae Parker Young and Susie Roberts, two friends who had just sped away from a local gas station without paying for their gas, were,
Wow.
yeah, were on their way to the Three Gables, a local roadhouse located in Dawsonville, Georgia. Susie was driving a 1954 Ford when she lost control and crashed into Lake Lanier from the Jerry D. Jackson Bridge. The only evidence of the crash was skid marks left behind on the bridge. So everybody assumed that they drove into the lake, and divers searched the lake but had no luck finding the bodies.
Shortly after the crash, people reported seeing an apparition of a woman in a blue dress. Delia was wearing a blue dress the night of the accident. Reports also stated the apparition of the woman didn't have any hands.
That's so creepy. A year after the crash in 1959, a fisherman discovered a body of a woman floating near the same bridge where the girls had crashed into the lake. The woman's body was bloated and missing her hands and a few toes.
What the fuck?
Yeah, well, they think like fish, like with her body being in
Ate
the
'em.
water that long. Yeah, like fish
Nibbled.
ate them.
Yum yum. And the tum tum.
So she could not be positively identified, but it was widely believed that it was the body of Delia.
Yeah, because of the area.
The area and the blue dress.
Both add up. They can't be coincidences.
31 years later, the Jerry D. Jackson Bridge was in need of some repairs. When workers began dredging the bottom of the lake to prepare for these renovations, they made a grim discovery. They found Susie's 1954 Ford with Susie still inside.
Oh.
Yeah, so
She
it was
never made it out.
Nah. So it was concluded at that time that the remains that were found back in 1959 were indeed that of Delia, since they found Susie.
Makes sense. Delia has become known as the Lady of the Lake, and reportedly, if you believe, she is still seen today wandering the bridge in her blue dress.
Yeah.
That's weird because
Why is it weird?
you know that one band from when we were in high school?
Be more specific.
Senses Fail.
Oh, yeah, I remember them.
They have a song called Lady in a Blue Dress, I think.
Ooh, I wonder if that's about her.
Yeah.
According to multiple reports, there are still 27 bodies underneath the waters of Lake Lanier, victims that have never been recovered. A different kind of 27 Club.
Creepy 27 Club.
Many believe the hauntings at the lake are that of Delia, but also the victims that are underneath the water wanting to be found.
Well, I was going to state that when I was doing research,
Mm-hmm.
a couple people said a lot of people that have drowned there have gotten stuck or sucked into old pieces of the town.
Yeah, because
And there's actually a gas station, I think, still under there.
there's a racetrack under
Yeah,
there
that's what
too.
I heard, and I was like, is that the
Yeah.
gas station or is that like an actual racetrack? I don't
Oh
know.
no, it's an actual speedway
Oh,
racetrack.
okay.
I don't know if racetracks were around in the 50s.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Like
But
racetrack gas stations, yeah.
people do get stuck and hung on these things, they end up drowning.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too, that it could be the debris and stuff because there's so much debris under the lake,
Yeah.
but also could it be ghosts? Like,
Yeah, because many people who've escaped nearly drowning at Lake Lanier said it felt like someone or something was trying to tug or pull them down.
yeah.
Because I watched a interview of a lady who took her son to go
Hmm.
to Margaritaville, and it was her and her son and her assistant, and she went to go get a sip of water, and her son was like playing in the lake, and she
Hmm.
turned around and he wasn't there, and she freaked. And she found him, and they had to do CPR and everything, but I believe he said it felt like someone was pulling or tugging at him, like trying to keep him under.
Yeah, I saw a couple of reports of people saying that. Yeah,
That's
that's
so weird.
so creepy. And yeah, so this lake has a pretty horrid history that began years before the lake was even thought of. Um,
Exactly. Like,
yeah.
pooh, this lake is cursed. Big curse.
Yeah. So that coupled with everything that's occurred since the lake's creation, it's a perfect storm for the paranormal.
And it's near water. Isn't
Yeah.
that something that is very, like,
Yeah, like I don't know, it seems like areas closer to bodies of water seem to have more activity for some reason. Yeah. I don't know why, but
who knows? Yeah, that's creepy ass Lake Lanier. You won't catch my ass there. And I
me
live in
neither.
Georgia. Fuck that
Yeah.
shit.
Actually, I'll take that back. I do want to go to Lake Lanier. I don't want to get in the water at
I
all.
don't know. It'd be creepy just even walking around.
Yeah, I want to go to the bridge where the crash happened.
Uh,
Yeah, and I want to go just walk around the lake and like at night and the daytime and just
at
see like if we pick
night? You
yeah,
fucking crazy.
just see if we pick up any like EVPs or anything.
Yeah, if you no, you will. The fuck you mean see if?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's
I think it'd be
haunted.
cool.
It's cursed. We already know that.
Yeah.
You will
I
pick
want
up shit.
I
Just don't
definitely
bring
want
it
to go.
home with you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Fuck
I don't
that.
want to bring it home with me. It
I
can stay
knocked
at the
on wood.
lake.
Fuck that shit. But
Well,
alright. We did the damn thing. We did it. We did it.
we did the damn thing. Lake
We did the
Lanier,
damn thing.
episode
Lake Lanier.
16.
Episode 16. And it's gonna be a little while before you hear our voices.
Yeah, we're taking a little bit of a summer break to work on new content, new episodes, and just bringing you better content.
Better quality audio. Hopefully, if I get this new microphone, we'll take some
Yeah,
promo pics.
Yeah, we have a lot of things that we're going to be working on. So we're taking a break, but we're not really taking
But
a
not
break because,
really
like,
taking a break.
we're working the whole time to
I
make the
guess we're
podcast
just
better.
giving y'all a break. For y'all
Yeah,
can
catch
catch
up on
up while we do
episodes.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Give us feedback. Email us if you have suggestions on episodes or
Yeah,
anything.
follow us on social media.
Yeah, because once we hit a certain thing, we have a couple surprises, couple
Yeah,
giveaways.
we're going to be doing a giveaway.
We got things. We got things a brewing. They're
Yeah,
coming together.
we have plans. We got plans,
We
people.
got plans, man.
So we'll be back with new episodes starting July 7th. So it's a little bit of a long break, but I feel like it'll be worth it because I feel like the podcast can be so much better when we come back from
Yes,
break.
I do too. But while we're doing our damn thing, y'all need to stay spooky.
Yes, stay spooky. We love y'all. Thanks for the support so far, and we hope
Yes, we really appreciate it. It means the world to us.